Exploring the Weaknesses of Our Strengths, presented to you by Dr. Shauna Sobers as part of the CliftonStrengths for UHD workshop series. This is a first in 4 series, recorded on Friday, January 29th, 2021. What's right about them? What are they bringing to me that I didn't think about? What is that perspective, and how can I be thankful for that rather than be frustrated by that? It's a shift. It's a choice. It's a challenge for sure. Any other thoughts about that recording, that video?
Is that something that we can get access to, those recordings?
That's on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Easy peasy. Yeah.
Are they daily?
They are not daily, but
Weekly.
not exactly weekly.
Okay.
There's 34 themes, right? And so then each season they'll go through all of the 34. So it's not exactly by weeks or months, but you can go on YouTube, you can type in Gallup Theme Thursday, or now, like I had mentioned, they started doing just the mindfulness pieces of it. And so you can look that up, but yeah, that's a quick search. And so that's kind of fun. After this, I'll send you all the link to it in email as well. But I really like those. All right, so delving in, I want to set the stage and set the tone a little bit for us before we go specifically into the themes, especially because there's a few of us who haven't done it before. So when Gallup talks about a talent, this is how we're defining it. Talents are naturally reoccurring patterns of thought, feeling, or behavior, ... that can be productively applied. So things to pull out of this that I want you all to really hear are the 3 things: thought, feeling, and behavior, right? So whenever we think about maybe our partner, maybe ourselves, what is it that we're bringing to the table? It's usually a way that we're thinking about something, a way that we're reacting in terms of our emotions or our actions. And so those are the things that are innate in us. It's naturally there. We can't stop it. Like it's just like it's automatic. The first place we go, a dominant switch for us. It's how we're wired. And when it becomes a talent is when you can take that natural reoccurring reaction to things and productively apply it. Then it becomes a talent. Okay. And then if you multiply that with your knowledge, with your experience, with your skill sets, with investment of time and energy in getting to know those talents a little bit more, getting to understand them, being able to not just read about it from the Gallup tool, but to claim it and say it in your own words and have your own examples. When you multiply that innate talent with those things, then you get a strength. And a strength is a naturally reoccurring being able to naturally reoccur near perfect performance. Now, because we're here in this workshop to talk about weaknesses a little bit, what's on the flip side? So Gallup defines a weakness as a shortage or misapplication of that talent, a skill set, or your knowledge, specifically that causes problems for you or others. So anything that gets in the way of your success could potentially be a weakness, even if, or maybe even especially if it's your strength. Because a leader's biggest area of weakness, or I would say mistakes, a leader's biggest area of mistakes or being tripped up or having a blind spot is in their areas of strength, because we rely more on it. And so we might overuse it or over rely on one particular talent. So some of the things that we're going to learn and talk about today, how do you manage that weakness, not fix it. We're not in the business of fixing it. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. We just need to manage the things that are not being productively applied, or they're getting in the way of our success. So we manage those weaknesses and spend most of our time in our area of strength. Okay, it's a different way of thinking about things. Now, today specifically, we're talking about the strategic thinking domain. And the 34 talent, or really talent themes. And why I say it that way is because Gallup did a lot of research to learn about a lot of different talents. And then they clumped specific talents into these talent themes, these 34. So within a talent theme, there may be different things that you identify with as you read the report. And there may be things that you're like, that doesn't quite sound like me. And that's why I give you all permission to, when you're reading those reports, the things that you're like, maybe, or that might be a stretch, or that's not me, just cross those out, throw those away. That's not serving you. This is a tool. This isn't a predictive. This isn't telling you who you have to be. This is, here's some language and some talents that we found clustered or clumped within these areas that can help you begin to learn how to articulate, have some language around these things that are good in you, but you are the only one that knows you best. So you get to decide what things you claim as your talent. The tool isn't the predictor of that, right? So they were able to take those 34 and then they grouped them even more into these domains. And really, when we begin talking about domains, it's really a way to think about teams or groups, not necessarily individuals, because you have all 4 domains. You have all 34 talents. It's just about which ones you naturally go to first. Those are your dominant. And because often in our society, we live in a deficit mindset. And the first thing we tend to want to do is go to, what do we not have? Where are our weaknesses? Where are our places for improvement? So if they were to give you all 34, it tends to be that that's the one people start going to, well, what's in my 34? What's my 33? What's my 32? Well, what am I lacking the most? So then I can like be upset about that and complain about that, and and maybe even have strengths envy and be like, well, you have that. I wish I had that. So we want to get away from that and really focus on, what do you bring to the table? So know that you have
I have to call him back.
You have all the domains, you have all the talents. You're not lacking anything. And the domains are really there so that as a team, you can kind of see where within that group, who might go towards these things first. And if you think about it, like I often will do an activity with you also, I'll welcome you to try it. If you sign your name, and then I tell you to sign your name with your non-dominant hand, you can still do it, but it's probably going to take you a little bit more time, effort, energy, focus. It might not look as good. So those are kind of the supporting talents that you have. You can do it, you can get competent in it if you put energy into it, but it's not the first thing you naturally go to that's easy, that you don't even have to think about there. So it's like you have all of the domains. It just may take you some intentionality and some effort to do some of those other things. So today we're focused on the strategic thinking domain. And I like to start with this one because this tends to be the one that helps a group know what to focus on, what to do, what should we be going towards. The strategic thinking is going to use the data and analyze and be able to kind of inform the group what to focus on. So I really like this theme for that. Any questions about anything that I share? So know that you can like throw things in the chat or ask questions as we go. Like I really want this to be engaging, not necessarily lecture style. So thoughts, reactions to what I shared. What do you think?
Yeah, it all makes perfect sense when you say it like that. I don't think about it that way, but I will tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. We often don't. It's not, somehow our society has taught us not to be wired this way. And so we have to intentionally undo that habit. So absolutely. So bringing awareness to it is the first step. And then us, like you said, beginning to like think about it when you see things, beginning to work that muscle to shift that perspective. Absolutely. All right. Can you do me a favor, everyone? And in the chat, put what your top 5 are. Put what your top 5 are. And I'm curious if you just take a few minutes and share what made you come to this session in particular. Do you have mostly strategic thinking? Do you have someone you're partnering with that has strategic thinking? Are there ones in particular that you want to focus on within strategic thinking? Like, tell me what brought you today. I'll put mine as well. I feel like I'm spelling that wrong. There we go. Okay. Or maybe you're on a journey to just learn about all of them. And that's cool too. Did I lose you? Can you still hear me, see me? Yes? Okay, good. And if you don't know what your talents are, I might have it that I can look it up for you. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, we'll definitely delve into learner and strategic. Awesome. Yes, like I want to learn and talk about all of my weaknesses. You mean all of your strengths? All right, so let's take. No, I got you. Where are the places where it could become a weakness? I got you. All right, so starting off with analytical. So for each one of these talents, we're going to go through and talk about what might be what Gallup used to call the basement. So they talk about basements, they talk about balconies. We're going to talk about what are the stressors or what triggers each talent to maybe become stressed. We're going to talk about where's the downfalls, and some of these may overlap, certainly, and then the shadow sides. And some of these, as we're talking about them, know this, that some of them are just how it may be perceived by others. Not that, again, not that you automatically have these things or do these things or may do these things. These are just like, hey, you know, people with these talents that Gallup has researched have talked about or experienced these things. And so it's good for you, if you have this talent, to be aware so that you can look out for them. It doesn't automatically mean that you have them. And so I just wanted to share that. All right. So analytical basement. You could be seen, not that you are rude, but how people perceive it, especially if they don't know or understand analytical. They can see it as rude. They can come off as short, as in like, I'm just really abrupt in what I say and how I say it. They can be seen as tough or never satisfied with the answer because they're going to ask you lots and lots of questions. And so that's how people, when they've experienced someone with analytical, could view it that way. But now let me tell you the flip side of it. And what's the balcony? Things that analytical talk about and share with others is going to be well thought out, is going to be logical, is going to be deep, is going to be thorough. They're very, very comfortable with numbers and figures and charts. They're very, very, usually very highly intellectual. And so that's the other side of how these things may come across, right? Some stressors is people rushing to conclusions. They're like, no, I gotta analyze the data, wait. Or lack of information. Hey, I need you to make a decision, but I'm not gonna give you the stats and the data and the information. That's gonna like make them twitch. Or there's not a thought process behind it. So things that are gonna relieve them of that stress is slowing down, having access to that data, and defining the expected outcome. What are you really needing me to do? Some downfalls is they may seem negative because they're questioning. So people aren't recognizing that, especially if they feel personally invested in what they've shared, they're not realizing that that analytical person is really not judging them when they ask questions. They're not, people may feel like they're on the defense. So they're not attacking them when they're asking these questions. They're simply seeking more data and more information so that they can best analyze the patterns that are in front of them. And usually when they're doing that, they're doing it so that they can point out the things that might be missing or might be unclearly stated, maybe misconstrued by others. And so they're trying to help the team get to clarity. And so they're trying to do that with questions. And then people might take it as like, oh, why are you so critical? Why are you always asking me questions? Like, why do you pick on me? And it's like, my brain just automatically thinks this way. You know, I'm just trying to be helpful. And so it's good to know and have that awareness. Some shadow sides, the potential for the analysis person to get too in the weeds, maybe analysis paralysis happening. They're unable to make a decision without that evidence. That could maybe be a crutch for them. But how they lead is they lead with investigation and knowledge of the facts, and they help the group be a truth finder. And so they can like get rid of all of the other fluff and noise and really figure out what needs to be focused on. So that's a little bit about analytical. What do you think? Reactions to that? Or even if you have analytical in your top 5, how have you experienced it? Have you worked with anyone with a analytical? No. Okay.
I think sometimes, because I'm new to housing, I think sometimes that people look at me as being in the basement because I'm not satisfied with answers. I see new and better and more informative ways to do things. And so I'm the person that's asking those questions. Can we do this for this? Can we do this for this? And so I think that the people on the other side are thinking, gee, she's gone crazy. And it's because I'm in that, it's not that I'm rude and short or whatever, but I always, if to improve things, you have to ask questions. And you have to not be satisfied if you feel your answer has just been something to push you over. So you have to go to that basement to get your progress.
Yeah. So, and I want to recognize something thank you for sharing, Alice. And then also, not everyone has to do that. You have to do that maybe because that's how you're wired. But you are unique and you're bringing these talents to the team. Not everyone thinks the way you do. And that is one of the like kryptonite of strengths, is that we assume that everyone else is taking in the information the way we do. And when they don't, we're like, I don't understand why you don't understand what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, because that's just what we have to do it. And it's like, yes, that's your process. And I love you for it. And I'm so thankful that you have that. And someone else may be bringing a different perspective of how to think, feel, or do that particular thing that may be completely opposite from what you feel has to happen. And so that's where it could be a clash, or we have an opportunity to understand each other and recognize the benefits that we have in front of us because of those differences of perspective.
I really appreciate the analytical in people that I work with, because I think it really just aligns with many of my talents or my themes. But it's always something to remember when the person is asking lots and lots of questions. That's something that sometimes can still be,
Yes.
a little off-putting. It's like, just, trust me. But
Yeah.
I recognize that actually brings a lot of value, making the team think through the things and go through all the pieces.
Yeah, it's hard. It's tough. My partner has analytical number one, and we have lots of conversations of like, do you think I want to think this way? Do you think I want to annoy you? Do you think that I am, doing this on purpose? Like, this is just the way I'm wired. And sometimes we just need to like pause and remember that when we're interacting with folks, because sometimes we forget, and, we go to the place where we naturally go. And so then, we just need to recalibrate. I'm going to share a link in the chat to our quick reference guide. And this is on our UT box, our strengths for, I think I called it Clifton Strengths for the number 4 UHD in our UT box. And there's a section before you go into the reports, there's a section of developmental handouts. And so this is the quick reference guide. It gives you a quick 2 sentences for each theme that is just, it's good to reference. All right, our next theme that we're going to talk about is context. And I'll read the little description that we have here as well. So for context, people exceptionally talented in the context theme enjoy thinking about the past. They understand the present by researching its history. Okay, so that's our description. The basement is that they may be perceived as slow to move or slow to react to change. Or they may be perceived as closed-minded or as though they're living in the past, because they're going to really value and really be more motivated to action when they know some of that context and rationale and what has happened, what has come before, so that it can help inform what we're doing right now. So the balcony for context is that it has a robust historical frame of reference. They learn lessons from the past. they know how things came to be, and they can leverage that knowledge of the past to the future or to the present, really. Excuse my phone buzzing. All right, so some stressors for a person with context is when others ignore the past and they don't even want to look at that, or they keep repeating past mistakes because they haven't taken the time to learn from them, or there's no access of to the information about what came before. Then they're gonna, kind of get twitchy. And so some relief for that is having respect for the past, being willing and wanting to learn from the past and understanding what came before. Some downfalls is they may be seen, like we said before, as slow, or others are annoyed by the complexities of, why do you have to bring that up again? Why do you have to, be talking about that stuff that we used to do before? Those things. But the genius of this talent is that it provides a big picture perspective. And they think and they want to know about the past to understand the present. Now, like, that is the magic that they're bringing to the team. Some shadow sides as a leader is that they might not want to be forward thinking because they're potentially living in the past. So they don't have as much of that vision that maybe futuristic might have. What I like to say is there's a trio. There's context, that's thinking about and being retrospective about what's happened. There's adaptability, that's responding in the moment and reacting to change of right now. And then there's futuristic, that's able to see and live in what's to be or what could be. And so those kind of are a trio about, how we might look to them in a group setting. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. What do we think about context? How have we experienced context, or just reactions to what I shared?
I'm reminded about past supervisors that I've worked with, that was always so frustrating to me to have to listen to that and work around that when that is not me. So makes sense.
Yeah. You're like, I've experienced the other end of that, where I might not have recognized them for what they were bringing to the table and their talents, but I saw them as like taking a long time to do things and maybe frustrating. Thank you for your vulnerability there and sharing that, Tracy. Yeah, any other thoughts or experiences with this? Okay.
This is one that I haven't really thought about as much, I think, but I realized I've got a couple people in my team that have this, and I appreciate it. Like I also like to think about things in the historical context, although possibly not as much. And so that's something I want to look out for, how we can tap into that and support it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on. Futuristic. I kind of talked about this a little bit. So maybe let's name some people that we already know that might have futuristic. Do we already see? So Jennifer, you're looking up the HR report. I'm thinking, let me pull up maybe our residence life report and see who else has futuristic. But who do you know?
Well, it looks like there's actually a couple of people still on the team. One of them is in my little EDE team. So Courtney is has
okay.
like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's good to know. Good to know. All right, so I'm looking at our Res Life team, and I do need to update this report. But let's see what we had before in terms of futuristic is Brian from the apartment, Connie, if you're in Jester,
Hello?
Jason Skidmore in Jester,
Hang-
JD in Jester.
Okay, I'm on a web thing.
Sorry. Let's see who else we have. Futuristic.
You've got a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, Jennifer, you said Courtney, but
Mhm.
when you go down to the bottom thing here, lack of contentment, less attention to details. I've never seen anything about Courtney like that.
Well, right. The shadow sides, if you can manage them, then they won't become.
Exactly. These aren't predictors. You don't have to experience these. These are just potentials that could come.
I do see her looking out to make things better so that in the future our organization is better and better and better. I see that about Courtney. I always see her looking to make things better and better and better in everything she does. But it just she's futuristic, but most of these things I would not see them applying. I do see her as being a dreamer because that part, but I don't see it. She handles it all so well that you can't, she's in total control of it. Even if she's futuristic, she's in total control of how she uses that as a talent for her to move forward. You know, I think she's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and what's beautiful about this too, Alice, as you share, is that just because you don't see it outwardly doesn't mean that she's not maybe fighting some of these things internally.
Mm-hmm.
And so, where can I find the reports? Okay, so you go to, or I'll send you a link. But you go on UT Box and you can do a search for CliftonStrengths for UHD. But hold on, Tracy.
I just realized we've got someone on our team who's got both context and futuristic, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
2 of the 3, not the 3rd, but still.
Yeah. And what's kind of cool also is that these themes, when they come together, kind of form some other characteristics. So there's theme pairings that happened. So I just sent you the link to it, Tracy, but I'll also put it in the chat. I can make this happen. Maybe if it lets me do it. Okay, there it is. Here's our folder. Yeah. So within that folder, there's 3 folders that come up: strengths reports, resources, and then our workshop series that it has the videos of all the series that we've done before. So if you go into reports, and then for you, Tracy, go into residence life, and then go into ops for our hall operations, then go into Jester. And then you'll be able to see reports broken down by East, West, and Pro staff. And the East and the West is specifically going a little bit deeper into the RA staff, and then the DA staff, and the RHCs and things like that. So there's different levels. But then what I did for Pro staff is within the folder, there's all of the team specific, and then each person in the Pro staff has a specific folder with their reports in it. Okay, and if yours is not there yet, then we can work on getting it there. I just need to know what your results are, and then I can get that populated for you.
Oh, I thought that I sent it to the email that you.
Yeah, so I probably just haven't Haven't gotten there yet, but it's coming soon to at least
Okay,
review.
no problem.
Yes. I'll put it on my to-do list. Okay, awesome. All right, so let's keep it moving. Futuristic, I'm just going to read for you some of the balcony, the genius, the relief, and the leading, because we had time to look at what's already on the screen, and then we'll move to the next one. So balcony, imaginative, creative, visionary, even prophetic, sometimes inspiring. That's what you're going to get. Genius, they raise the sights of others, their big picture. They're inspired by the future and what could be. Oh, you know who else has this? Scott Cook. The relief is brainstorming and seeing future impact and having peers who see into tomorrow as well. So having a partner to dream with is going to be something that gives them relief. And then leading, they lead with the ability to cast that vision and help team members understand future plans. All right, ideation. Ideation. So if we look at our reports, who has ideation? I know Aaron Boyles does. I know Brandon Jones does. I know Mylan does. Other folks that you can see who has this one you want to call out?
I'm the only one on my team that I know of, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so ideation. People exceptionally talented in the ideation theme are fascinated by ideas. They're able to find connections between seemingly disparate phenomenon. So you're going to take things that are complex and it's like, I'm over here, and then you're going to find a way to maybe merge it or make or simplify it into a way that can be then absorbed by others. So basement, serendipitous, lacks follow through, creates more work. That's how people, when you get going, they're like, oh, they just keep coming up with all these ideas and then it makes more work for us. Bah. But the balcony of that is they improve on the existing and they learn pretty quickly and they have an agile mind. And so when we're in a changing and fast-paced organization, that's going to be really helpful. And I think it sparks why you're interested in the job that you're in, right? Like within your team, you have the job that's most about this type of work, brainstorming and being innovative and those sort of things. So I think that makes sense that you get to add that superpower to your team. So you get triggered when you don't have the space and time to innovate and brainstorm. Grr. I think it's even indicative of your office has the white erase boards so that you can dream and you can brainstorm and everything. Maintaining the status quo, you're not going to feel good about that. And then lacking resources, grr. So how do we avoid those? Allowing for experimentation, challenging the status quo, and resources that you can use to put those ideas into motion. Some downfalls, maybe people see you as spacey. Maybe people see you as always having ideas or wanting to continually bring new ideas to the table. But what you can help them see and help them understand about you is that you help others see from a new point of view. And you find those connections between the disparate phenomenon. I kind of think about you, Jennifer, too, with the way the innovative marketing ideas that you brought to the table when you brought the popcorn when we were getting ready for the recognition and nominating people, and it was like, oh, we're bringing food, but it's like popcorn because then it went with the theme of like the awards, and then so it's like I could see all of the ideas popping off that made that come to fruition, which is kind of cool. And then some shadow sides, lack of action or difficulty prioritizing ideas. So it's like, hey, you can be the idea generator, but maybe it's hard for you to then, follow through on all of those ideas or take action on all of those ideas or prioritize which ones. And so what you're doing as a leader is you're leading creativity, you're helping your team members in the brainstorming process. Those are the things that you're really bringing to the table. So I use Jennifer a lot as an example in that one, but are there other experiences that you all have had with ideation, or observations?
I always admire those type of people because they have talents that I don't necessarily have, or are not my forte, or are not to my liking. So I like to always have somebody, at least one like that on my team, because it prevents me from having to do it.
Yeah, we need this. We need this. Otherwise, we're gonna just keep doing the same old, and it's not going to be exciting and energizing, invigorating for us. Absolutely. Awesome. So, any input is our next one. This one's my number 6 as well. And so, who on our team has input? Oh, you do. Okay.
I've got all the rest of the ones we're going to talk about today. So
Okay. Now we're in your wheelhouse. All right. Who else? Anyone else on your team have it too? Trying to get back to our strengths report here. I don't know if Tracy, you have it up, but let's see. At least on ops team, Aaron Boyles does have it as well.
Joffrey, I see, has it
on.
on.
Has it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
All right. The only one.
So we have a couple people in mind. Okay. So people exceptionally talented in the input theme have a need to collect and archive. They may accumulate information, ideas, artifacts, or even relationships, depending on what their other themes are. That, it depends on what type of resources and information they might be excited to collect. So the basement of that is, hey, they may know a lot of what others may view as worthless information. They may be a pack rat. Some people might even say hoarder. They may have a cluttered house or a cluttered office or a cluttered mind. They're going to be the people who, I know who else has input. Aaron Boyles does. And I do. And so we've definitely talked about input. I want to say Brandon Jones does as well, because we've talked about how sometimes we're like, I just want to have this like trivia information so that just in case someone needs it. So they're always collecting because they think that it's going to be useful at some point in time. And so they may be seen as or thought to be a boring conversationalist because they just have so much info that they're just sharing. But flip side of that, the balcony, they're a great resource. They're knowledgeable. They have an excellent memory. They're going to have a mind for the detail. They're going to collect interesting things to them. It's interesting. And then they're going to be a potentially excellent conversationalist if you're interested in that topic. Right? Some stress triggers are going to be not having access to the collectibles. So a lot of the things that input is going to do is find different systems for like filing away their collectibles so that they have easy, ready access to them. So my input shines through with this UT box that I've created about strengths. And then we can like easily click to find these reports and have access to this information. That's part of my input kind of coming through. So having that system for collecting, or that system for being able to share out that information. The genius is the mind is active, and you're very knowledgeable, and you crave to know more information. Oh, you know who else has this? Erin Long. And I know because we've talked about how sometimes, because she's taking classes right now, and she's like, sometimes I think I'm a procrastinator because I keep researching. And I'm like, and actually, it's not that you're a procrastinator, it's that you're constantly thinking that you need more info before you can get started. And so they'll go out and seek more. They're like, input. I'm like, I want it to come, all the info right here. And so that can sometimes be a challenge, like really great because you have lots of info, could be something that trips you up if you can't get to the task because you can't stop collecting the info. So one of the ways to potentially work around that is, setting that deadline, a timer, or just saying to yourself, hey, I'm just going to dump out what I have now just to see where I'm at, so that it helps inform, where or how I'm going to go mine for more data later. And then actually, lo and behold, you just putting out all of your ideas and information, you might find, well, I like overshot this by so much because I already have all of this information. And so it's like, that's like one trick that I've been able to use. And then where they can lead is leading with knowledge of collected information. So being able to use what you have to then have that inform where you go next, like I talked about a little bit, or be a research resource for your teams. How have you used it, Jennifer?
I think you definitely hit the nail on the head when you talk about that need to gather more information, and then maybe sometimes not being able to act into thinking that you need more information. I think I can get caught up in so like gathering a bunch of data. Like if we're going to make a decision or do a thing, or we want to innovate in some way, sometimes I want to have a lot of data to support that, and sometimes that can just take too long. Sometimes. So I think having that kind of setting a timetable on, okay, we're going to gather all this information, and whatever we've gathered by X date.
I have to use sometimes. It's like I only have this amount of time, and then I have to stop and use whatever I've collected at that point in time. Yeah.
But I also really identify with the being a resource.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love to be a resource, whether it's information or whether it's, the person in my Buy Nothing group that needed a little, washer. And I was like, oh, I have that. I actually have, I in my little tray of all the random little things. So like, oh, I can help you, neighbor. With it's like being able to be that resource for people. Whatever, a lot of it's informational, but sometimes it's actual, stuff. So.
Yeah.
See, I like that over here also, because if somebody comes to the desk, I want to be able to answer all their questions, especially if it's a parent or somebody coming in here that wants to know something. We had an incident with a young lady and her mother wanted to know something. And I let the girl call on my telephone because her telephone had been lost. So I let her call and we talked on speakerphone, me and the girl and the parent. And I told the parent, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about her being here. We've got it covered and we're looking at resources to help it. And I tried to ease her mind and say, look, this is the information we have. We're going to do everything it takes to make this right. Okay. And I kind of calmed the mom down, but I like to be the person that shares the information. And usually the information you're sharing is good. You rarely have to share bad information. It's been frustrating with COVID because if there's information I don't have, and mine's usually information, sometimes it's something I have locked in my cabinet that Naomi or somebody might need. They don't realize that I have this stash that I keep away from.
Having the stash.
A stash that I keep away from students. But I feel in this position here, information is something you have to, but if I can't find that information and give an answer back, I'm a follow through kind of person. I want to call back and give you the answer. And with COVID, that's hard to do because there's no one in the main office to get the answer from. You wait and wait, and I don't like to wait. If somebody asks me something, I want to research it and give them an answer back, and I can't always do that. But I think having information or having that washer that your neighbor needed, that's great. That's a great place to be in. And it's a better place when you have what they want.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, both of you. All right. Intellection. This is in my top 5 as well. And I think, Jennifer, you said it's in yours. Is it in yours as well, Tracy? Yeah, is this one? So the description that it says is people exceptionally talented in the intellection theme are characterized by their intellectual activity. They are introspective and appreciate intellectual discussions. All right. So the basement is that they're a loner. I kind of think about this one through the lens of like Myers-Briggs. If you know that, it talks about extroverts or introverts. And so to me, being having intellection is really due to my and really supports my introverted nature. So, and also I'm an only child, so like that kind of feeds into it too. But it's like you're okay being alone, and if anything, it might replenish you and refuel you and give you more energy because it allows you that time to muse and to be in deep thought and to think and to philosophize. And actually, with intellection, you equate thinking as doing sometimes. You don't have to actually have an output or a production, just the energy it takes to like think through things is you working on that particular project. But no one else can kind of see that output because it's all in your head. And that's something that's difficult sometimes for others when they're working with intellection, because that work is happening inside a lot of times. So they can be seen as a loner or slow to act, again, because it's like, I need to process. And no, as a supervisor, I've learned that phrase. It's like, give me a moment to think about that. I need a few moments. I need to process, because that's just the way I'm wired. And so I need to give myself the grace and allow and help my team know what I need to do my best. And so those are some ways that I've helped them along. So people might think that you waste time thinking, or you like to isolate yourself because you're just like, I just want a quiet space. I want to go for a walk. And so like, those are the ways that people can maybe view you because of that. You like to work alone. The stressors are ideas with no discussion or action with no intellection or entertainment without thought. The relief of that is conversations about ideas. So I really see the comparison and the connection for you, Jennifer, of intellection and your ideation really coming through. Your relief is going to be slowing the action down and having leisure activities that involve thoughtfulness and intention. That's going to really give you that relief and be able to like supercharge you so that then you can come back out in the world and interact with the folks. That's where you're going to get your energy. The genius of this talent is that you have innovative solutions, and you enjoy introspective and intellectual discussion. That's really going to like jazz you up and get you going. You're going to lead through articulated thoughts from a place of that introspection, and you're going to help your team members value that type of discussion. So I'm just going to pause for a minute and look for, I got this book that gives me the pairings. And so this is what intellection and, so here's me musing with ideas. So here's what intellection and ideation sounds like. I am a deep philosophical thinker, but that does not keep me from having an open and creative mind. That's how those two themes sound together. Intellection and what was your other one, Jennifer? Input. This is how it sounds. Just because my thinking can be deep and philosophical does not mean that it cannot also be practical and useful. So those are some of the theme pairings for intellection. All right, what do you all think? How have you experienced it?
I think you just described my entire relationship with my daughter.
Oh, okay. Tell me more about that.
She and she just turned 20. She's at Oglethorpe University in Atlanta. Just went back to campus.
I just did a presentation for them not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It can be very frustrating for me to deal with her on things because she has a totally different approach than I do. So this is gonna benefit me to keep my frustration level to manageable.
Yeah, and also maybe be able to see her in a new light. And
Yes.
and to help her bring it out even more and do it even more, or to really
Yeah.
begin to understand.
And rather than, be in a critical tone, more supportive and thoughtful and helpful in giving her good feedback instead of my frustrated. So thank you.
Yeah.
See, I thought this, I'm sorry. I thought the same thing as Tracy said, because I have a daughter that I go back and forth with all the time. And I thought exactly, Tracy and I talked about my daughter, and I thought the exact same thing. And then she said it. So yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So this, what I was going to say is, what's helpful about this tool is that you assume positive intent of the other person. So when you recognize actions, thoughts, feelings, or behaviors, right? They're talents, and then you can actually praise them and appreciate them for that. Even if you don't understand it yourself, you can be like, I noticed that you're doing this. And, I'm really grateful that you're wired that way. I'm not. It's like, but I'm thankful that you are. And so I'm just going to give you that space to do what you need to do. And then let's talk about it, after you've processed a little bit. And that's going to open up a lot of doors potentially, especially if you're like, hey, I answer your question, I need a decision right now. And they're like, I need more time to think. Or, hey, I need you to come outside and engage with your family members. And they're like, I just want to be curled up with a book and be left alone. And so, being able to manage those a little bit more. Yeah, I hear that. All right, learner. I love this one. And just know that this is probably one of the most, I don't know, most seen result is learner. And it makes sense because learner is all about taking in new information. And so learner is just attracted to the assessment of CliftonStrengths. So like of all the results of the 23 million people who've taken it, learner, it has a high frequency of it showing up in people's reports. So who are some of the folks that we know who have learner on our teams?
That's one of my strengths.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Glad
I've got
to
that
have
one too,
that.
and also Daniela.
Oh, Joe in occupancy management has learner. Kristen Beck has learner. Melissa Garland in the apartments. Ryan Talamontes, and it's my number 2, Stephanie Holly in night operations. All of those folks have learner on our team. So learner is people exceptionally talented in the learner theme have a great desire to learn and want to continuously improve. The process of learning rather than the outcome excites them. And so there's a distinction between how we maybe in society might talk about learning or being a learner, and how Gallup has defined this talent theme. And sometimes this trips us up with some of our themes because we assume that we know what it is just from looking at the word. and not fully reading the description. So what Gallup's talking about when they're talking about learner is someone who gets energy from the process of learning, from going from not knowing something to becoming really competent in that area to the point where they can then teach others. And they really, depending on their other themes, really enjoy not only their development, but the development of others. And so their balcony is being always learning, catching on quickly, being interested in a multitude of things, and then just generally finding life intriguing. Like that's like, kind of the balcony of learner. But the basement is being seen by others. So notice that a lot of these have not to do with the person. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to be fixed, but rather it's being aware of how it may be perceived by others, especially if they don't have this talent, and then being able to manage how to help them see it and understand it and appreciate it, or how to minimize how that reaction might stop you from doing the thing that you are called to do and you're just wired to do, right? So people may look at you and be like, oh, you're just a know-it-all, or oh, you don't, like you lack focus because you're an expert in too many things. And a lot of people, especially when I know I had dealt with this, when you're thinking about what's my career path, and you're like, I have so many options because I have studied and learned and become competent in so many things. So I just don't know, what do I truly like to do? That's difficult sometimes for a learner because they like learning, not necessarily what they've learned, but they just like the process of learning. So you'll often find a learner with multiple degrees, or being seen as bookish is the other piece. So some of the relief is change and growth and being able to access different resources. So one of the high pairings is learner and input tend to go together. They're buddies, they like each other. And knowing the differences between those two is something that sometimes people misunderstand. Input is the collection of the information. Learner is liking the growth of learning more about a particular topic or subject. So they can help feed each other, but there's a distinction between the two of them, right? The genius of learner is that they thrive in a dynamic world. They learn lots in a short period of time, and they continuously want to improve. So they lead with knowledge of process, and they help team members to value discovery and curiosity and knowledge acquisition. Thoughts, experiences, observations about this one.
I love this one. I mean, I love them all, but I think I've really been nurturing this part of myself recently. We talked right at the beginning about this crochet habit I've got. And this is something that I dove into, and I think this is my input and my learner hanging out together, because on my phone, I probably have about 60 browser tabs open that are related to crochet patterns or how to do different crochet things and stitches. And I mean, because I'm trying to learn more and really, like, I guess, master that skill in a way that just really has been feeding my soul in the last months,
Yes, totally. That mastery of skill comes from learner. The gathering the resources comes from input.
Right.
Yes, love it.
And also, like, the other open tabs on my browser are about shopping for yarn. So there's that also. The input.
You need the yarn to do the task. I get you. That's awesome. So how learner and input together sound is, as a natural student and teacher, I love the process of learning, and I am always looking for useful resources that can enhance learning. That's how it sounds together. Yeah. Awesome. Anyone else? All right. So our next one, and I think this one might be our last one in this domain, is strategic. All right, so strategic. Who on our teams has this theme? Let's look. I see here Aaron Voiles has this for us. Angela Lowe in Whitest Court. Jason in Jester. JD has strategic as well in Jester. Is this Jasco? No. Nope. That was mistaken. I'm trying to read through the Ryan Colvin has this one, and Ryan Talamontes, and Tiana. All our strategic folks. How about you, Jennifer? Any on HR team?
Yeah, we've got both Brandon and Samantha have this, as well as myself.
Okay.
We have Trey over here.
A Trey as well. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Alice. All right, so strategic. Let's see here. People exceptionally talented in the strategic theme create alternative ways to proceed. Faced with any given scenario, they can quickly spot the relevant patterns and issues. So this is going to be your what if person. What if this? What if this? What if this? What if this? I kind of think of this as my Mary Poppins bag, or always be prepared kind of mode. So I'm similar to you, Jennifer, where it's like, I want to make sure that no matter what scenario happens, I'm prepared for it. So I'll have in my bag the umbrella and the sunglasses and the lip balm. It's just like, just in case anything is going. The trunk of my car has the blankets and the chair. And just in case it's sunny, or if, we're going out camping, whatever. So that's the strategic. You're going to find multiple pathways to getting things done. So the balcony is they are anticipating alternative, they're intuitive, they see different paths. But how that could be perceived as a negative is that they jump to quick decisions. It's difficult to understand their thinking. A lot of times, like, they get to one thing and they're sharing that, and people are like, I did not track how you got from that to where you are now. And so one of the strategies for strategic is to like pause, take a moment to explain, like take someone else in the car with you and explain how you got to that pathway. They may be seen as closed-minded because they're constantly thinking about alternatives, and they might not be taking in that input from other folks because they're able to just do it. Stressors, taking the less ideal path, like, because the strategic person's like, I've already figured out the best way to do it. So if you're doing it and it's not the best way to do it, then that's going to be like a stressor for me. Not knowing the big picture, because then they can't, strategize the best way. If something else comes up, it's like, I could have seen that. I could have anticipated that. I could have, directed us better if I knew all the info. Or having to get buy-in from others, that's not really going to be their forte. What is understanding the gains from, lesser pathways. They're like, okay, I can take this from this piece and this from this piece, and I'm going to make it work. They're going to be relieved if they can ask questions and get more insight about the big picture. They're going to find relief if they are able to appreciate their team. Their genius is that they see the pros and cons of anything, and they can create alternative ways to proceed. So if you tell them, hey, give me 3 options of, or, ways of executing this particular thing, but they're going to be in their zone because they can spot those patterns and those issues and then come up with alternatives to how to do that. So some people might see that as like not able to move quickly because they're going to be strategizing, or they're wishy-washy because they're able to change based on, you give me another variable, I'm going to give you another potential option. But for someone who just like wants to know one thing and, you know, like clear, then that person might be seen as wishy-washy. It may be, again, difficult to understand their thinking because, you know, they might get there so quickly that they're not taking people along with them. Overly convicted. They're like, this is the best way. This is the way to do it. So that's how they could be seen that way, or as though they're uncompromising about their plans because they're like, I've thought this out. This is the way to do it. And so it can be that people see them as not able to budge because you're like, I've already thought through all of this. You're not trusting me and seeing me in this path. Or they may be seen as over programming. It's like, hey, you're thinking this out too much. Just let things happen, let this flow. And you're like, I have a plan for this. I have a strategy for this. I have a backup. If this goes wrong, we're going to go to the coloring book. And then we have the pencils just in case. And then I have a snack or whatever. And people are just like, you've over programmed, like just let things flow. But on the other side of it, they lead with plans. They help team members to form the best plan for action on any given task. Whew, that was a lot. What do you all think? How have you experienced it?
I think one of the things that you said that just resonated with me the most is that when people aren't able to keep up with that, you know, aren't able to get there as quickly, really trying to help them get to that point, help them make those connections. And, you know, because I think that's something that I've seen as well. It's like, the solution is very obvious. I see it, but how do I get you all to see it? And how do I get us all to get there, you know?
Yeah. And this is where partnering with someone who has maybe an influencing domain talent can really be helpful to get that buy-in. So the reason why I chose to do the domains in the order that I did is because strategic thinking lets us know what we should be focused on. And then influencing helps us get the stakeholders that we need and, you know, go tell people about what we've decided we're going to work on to bring people to the table. And then the relationship builder is going to make sure that those who are on the team can work together. So they're understanding the dynamics, they're reading the room and the climate and the atmosphere of what's going on and providing those things. And then the executing is going to be like, okay, this is the pathway to get it done and completion and be productive and all of that. So I put these domains in this order strategically, because it's kind of the way our teams tend to work. So it makes sense that you're like, okay, I got all this great ideas. Now I need my influencing person to partner with to be able to like take it to the next step, which is interesting because we started off this whole workshop thinking about who are those people that we want to partner with and how can we see them and think about them in a different light. So I kind of brought it back. All right. So other last minute takeaways, or actually, if you can each think about one word of how you're feeling after this session, and maybe one takeaway that like you didn't know before, and this is like the aha that you're going to take with you this next month. So maybe one word of how you're feeling and one takeaway.
My one word is satisfied.
Good.
Yeah. And my takeaway is that there's positive in everything.
Absolutely.
Even what we may consider negative characteristics in our relationships, either personal or professional. It's all a matter of you.
Yes, absolutely. I love that, Tracy. Thank you.
I think my word is hopeful.
Mm,
Um, I think you can look at some of these things and be very hopeful about outcomes that these things give you something to build on, to look at others, to try to you can work more, have more togetherness on your team by putting some of these things and seeing the other person's outlook from it.
mhm.
Um, and I keep thinking training like this, it makes it makes me hopeful not only within our business organizations, but it makes me think that there's this learning can help you later when you go out into the world. Like a
Absolutely.
student that graduates from college can learn something and go out into the world and be able to use that. And a lot of things that I see in this makes you look at somebody different from their perspective, and it gives you more understanding to deal with them on the outside world, not just here at work with your peers and your business relationships.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree, Alice, that this isn't just development in one plane in your life. This is across everything that you do and how you see yourself. And
Mhm.
I know, like I said, I have conversations with this with my partner, with my mom, with as well as with my staff. And so it's definitely something that we can use in all stages of our life. Absolutely. Great. How about you, Jennifer? What are you thinking?
I would say my one word is re-energized. And I think because it's been a minute since I've thought about the different themes and how they show up in our team, and kind of it's nice to get back into thinking about that. And I see some opportunity for conversations and some different ways that we can maybe partner. And so I'm looking forward to the rest of the series
Yeah.
too as well, because I'm really glad that we've moved my standing Friday morning meeting so I can attend these. That worked out really nicely. So
I was like, I'm sorry. Well, yes, I'm glad that you were able to join us as well. And I'm also working on some new other series that I can bring to you all as well. And so certainly if there's questions that you have or things that you're interested in, let me know and then I can develop those things out. Um, and so I leave you with all of my social media funness, as well as the links to that we had in the chat to the UT box. Um, and know that I am available for one-on-one strengths coaching or team or unit strengths facilitation. Um, Typically, I'm trying to make Fridays kind of my strengths day. So yeah, anytime between 8 and 1, if you want to get on my calendar so that we can do some strengths things and talk specifically about you or your team or how you can use it. Just let me know and we can make that happen. But that's it for today. Hopefully that was helpful. It sounded like it was. And the next one, oh, let's review. The next one is, I believe, the end of February. Let me take a look. The next one's going to be February 19th, 11 to 12:30, and we're going to be doing influencing. All right. So see you then.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry I was late, Dr. Sobers.
You're totally fine.
My husband kind of